Hi good people, how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing all right. Welcome back to a new video and welcome back to my channel. I am Sheila Bet and this is the Sheila Bet Show. So first of all, I want to say again, because I do this every week, thank you. We've reached 91 subscribers and so we're inching really close to 100. I'm really excited about that. So let's get to 3 numbers. If you've been coming around and watching my videos so far and you like them, yeah, feel free to subscribe. You're welcome to join the Sheila Bet Show family. I'm gonna be making a really chilled out video, basically kind of a get to know me video. And I'll be talking about 20 facts about me. I got them all written down and you'll understand why in a short while. So fact number 1, I daydream a lot. I'm a daydreamer. I'm a dreamer. Yeah. So when I was in high school, whenever I'd get bored, I just kind of look out the window and, you know, just go get lost in my own world. And I think I've just always been like that since I was a kid. I try to do it a lot less now, but honestly, sometimes in the middle of a conversation with a friend, I'll literally just get lost in my thoughts and be whisked away. And I have a good friend, Mildred, what's up, who often knows when I've kind of drifted off, and she'll usually ask me, Sheila, what did I just say? And I'll probably say something that she said about 2 minutes before that. So I'll completely lose her. And yeah, I do that sometimes. I don't know if it's a bad habit or it's just a quirk of mine, but I'm perfectly comfortable with it. I enjoy getting lost in my own head sometimes. Not all the time, when it's appropriate, mostly. Except in geography class in high school, when she was one of my favorite teachers. I used to do really well in geography, but she had quite the monotone. Yeah, so I would always be sent to either sleep or I would just, you know, look outside the window and get lost in my own world. So another fact about me is that I became vegetarian, selectively vegetarian, from the time I was 7 years old. So I just remember vaguely as a child, I never really got meat. Like, it just didn't sit well for me. And from the moment I tasted meat, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the texture. I didn't like the taste of it. I didn't like a lot of things about it. And I remember different times when maybe we would have rice and a beef stew, and when nobody was looking, I would be throwing the pieces of meat under the table. That was really dumb. But kids, you know, kids, we think we know better, we think we're smart. There's one day I was chewing on this piece of meat, it was beef, I remember, and I remember just thinking, what is the point of this? It's too much work, it tastes like crap, it chews like rubber, I don't want to eat this stuff anymore. And I told my parents and they were really graceful and they said, sure, you don't have to eat meat if you don't like it. Fact number 3 is I loved school. I know this isn't something most people would say, but I remember since I was a kid, I really enjoyed going to school, especially primary school. And I went to 2 different primary schools and also uni. So high school was the only exception where, and I think it's really because we went to boarding school and we were locked in and it just felt a little constricted in high school. So then I didn't really like school much. But I've always really liked just being in a class and being taught. For me, that's really exciting because I'm learning something new. So yeah, I'm kind of a geek in that sense. I always really enjoyed school. I really enjoyed lectures in uni. And when I was in uni, I spent my entire days in uni to the point where, because I lived at home, I only went home when it was time to just have dinner and sleep and my day was done. This is also, I've always been like such a big fan of reading. When I was younger, I didn't really necessarily enjoy reading to study, like reading for exams. But I really loved reading like fictional books and just interesting articles and stories. I was just obsessed with reading. So yeah, I'm kind of a book nerd. The 5th fact about me is I always wanted to voice a cartoon character. So when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of cartoons like most kids. I used to wake up at 6 a.m. to watch Mike, Lou and Og. And for some reason, I've told people about this cartoon and nobody seems to remember it. But they used to talk about, gosh, can I even remember what they used to talk about? I feel like they talked about history and facts about things. I liked those kind of geeky cartoons where they taught you something, maybe geography or history or about people and that sort of thing. So yeah, I was a big fan of cartoons and I always wanted to voice a cartoon. I do voiceovers every once in a while, but so far, I've actually done one cartoon. It's an educational one, which is interesting. But I want to really voice a character, like for a long-term cartoon that's gonna go big. But I did voice a cartoon one time, and it was, or rather, an animated character. I don't know if I'd call it a cartoon. It probably is. Anyway, if you guys could go online on YouTube and check out Elimu Tales, that's Elimutales. Yeah, I'm the doctor. Fact number 6. I consider myself to be an old soul, and sometimes I think I was born in the wrong era. Big fan of, older times music. If you check out my playlist, it's a lot of older music. It's Nina Simone. It's just a bunch of artists who mostly are no longer alive, actually, and that's the music that just feeds my soul. Although I still like the 2000s and the late 90s. Those are really good times. Related to this fact is fact number 7, which is I cannot stand trap music. It just makes me irritable. I don't know, maybe it's the vibe of it. I feel like it has this just negative energy in it. And I like music that uplifts me and makes me feel good, and makes me feel happy, or makes me want to dance. So most trap music just makes me feel, ugh. I don't enjoy it at all. Yeah, so I was big on hip hop, and I listened to a lot of old school hip hop. And then what came after hip hop? Crank. So hip hop was followed by crank, and crank was my ish. Yes, I loved crank. I danced to it, like snap your fingers, do your step. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. And then trap came along, and I was just like, yeah, this evolution is not sitting right with me. I'm done. So I don't listen to trap music. I can't stand it. I would like to write books, and that's a big dream of mine, and it's something I'm pursuing. And I want to write children's books, especially. That's something I'm really excited about. And I want to not just write, but also illustrate. So I do some drawing, and I'm actually working on my drawing skills so that I'm able to write and illustrate a couple of children's books. I would also like to write some fiction and possibly biographies of really incredible women. Maybe Kenyan women, maybe African women, yeah, who I think are inspirational and wonderful people that everybody should know about. Number 9, if I had the choice, like if I was going to uni just to study because it was fun, I would have studied literature and philosophy for my undergrad, and I've always dreamt of studying art history for my master's. I still dream of studying art history for my master's, although I did study journalism instead of literature. I actually ended up picking out a few electives in my minor, which was integrated studies. So through my minor, I got to kind of live that dream of studying some philosophy classes, and I did an African philosophy class, and I did an African literature class, and a bunch of other things that I find interesting but didn't really apply to my career of choice, like psychology and yeah, that sort of thing. Sociology as well. I'm a huge fan of just society, putting a lens on society, trying to understand human beings and how we work as individuals, as a group, and that sort of dynamic is really interesting to me. So yeah, I'm still thinking about my master's, and I might do art history, or if I could do a double master's, then I would do like a maybe sociology and art history. I'm a bit of a rebel. I wouldn't say like extreme rebelling, but I've always kind of wanted to do things differently, and I've always seen things a bit differently from, I guess, a majority of people in any context, or in most contexts, not all of them. And yeah, so I've always just liked to be what do you call them? An outlier. I've always liked to be like the different person who does things differently. And I remember when I was younger, ideas of being, like people would say, would call me weird sometimes for certain things that I would say or do or be into. And I used to think, yeah, that's cool. I'm not like everybody else. And I've really embraced that most of my life. I've always liked to be different. Huh? I don't know if this is 11 or 12, but an interesting fact about me, which I don't know, I guess a couple of people could relate, is when I was a kid, I was that kid who always wanted to be a grown-up. Like I felt like people didn't take me seriously enough. And I always looked a lot younger than my age. Like I remember when I was in when I just finished Form 4, my youngest sister, the youngest in our family, had just finished class 8. And when the KCPE results came, one of our neighbors asked me what I got. And I was so mad because she thought I had finished class 8 rather than Form 4. And it seemed so insulting. And I used to get really annoyed because people would look at me and think I was a lot younger than I was. And then I would want to say something and I would feel like they're not taking me seriously. So yeah, I wanted to grow up so badly. And the crazy or the funny thing now is I'm always looking to kind of embrace the child in me that's still left in there, because I feel like that's what keeps you vibrant, that's what keeps you curious. And I think it's just lovely to keep the child in your life. Just because you've grown up doesn't mean that you leave the child behind and you become just a boring adult. I'm pretty good at remembering numbers. So if you tell me a number once, if it's like a 4-digit number or less, usually I'll be able to remember. And I think that's like a cool little superpower I guess I have. Yeah, I remember numbers, and I'm kind of obsessed with pattern numbers, so numbers that repeat themselves. I'm quite often like noticing it on the phone or noticing it on like a watch or something, and I get so excited when I see repeating numbers like 1717 or 0808. It's weird, but I'm into it. So when I was younger, I used to sing in public, especially in church. I guess I sang in church when I was a younger kid. And then I stopped around, I guess, teenage years because it wasn't cool anymore. But yeah, I had this dream when I was now much older, after I'd finished high school. Actually, after I'd finished uni, I had this dream of kind of hosting a jazz night in a really fancy restaurant and doing like jazz evenings and singing along with a really good band. And it kind of is still a dream that I have in my head. I feel like it's so magical to sing with a band, like live. Another fact about me is I'm quite experimental with cooking. I like to try different things. When I go visit my friends and I see them making something new that's different, that I've never tried or seen before, I always go and try it. When I'm cooking, if I've been doing a dish or if I learnt a dish a certain way, I always try putting in new ingredients and kind of just playing around with ingredients here and there and trying like switching things up and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot so badly. I used to think, yeah, I'm gonna fly for a living. That's my thing. But I remember even then when I was a kid, I didn't think flying these big planes was fun or exciting because it felt like driving a bus. But I always loved the smaller planes, like the 14-seaters, the 2-seaters. They just seemed so exhilarating, and I always wanted to be like someone who flew a plane. And I'm obsessed, and I love small planes, from choppers to like 14-seaters, like I said. Yeah, and I would love to learn to fly, even if I'm gonna do it privately. That's a dream I still hold. Another fact about me is I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And you know, perfectionism has its good sides and it has its ugly sides. So I came to learn over the years as I got older that I was a bit of a perfectionist. And sometimes it would hold me back, and I try to kind of not let that be something that kind of stops me from doing the things I want, because I need them to be perfect the first time around. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm obsessed with hats. I love hats. I love different style hats, especially styles like these, like summer hats, like daytime hats, caps, all of it. I'm obsessed. The way I guess many women would say they love bags and shoes, my thing is hats. And I guess also jewelry. It would be, if I was to collect clothing items or accessories, it would be hats and jewelry. I love to put pen to paper, so I really, even when I'm working, I usually have to have a notebook with me and a pen so I can kind of process my thoughts by writing them down. And that also means that I'm kind of like, I'm so into stationery. I love to buy books, like nice pretty notebooks, cool pens, different colors, different styles, different designs, different sizes of the nib. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with stationery because I love to write. And the final fact about me is I'm kind of obsessed with tea. I love to drink tea. Right now I'm having like a flavored tea, so you can't really see the inside, otherwise I'll pour it out. But I love to drink chai especially, which is quite common in, I think, Eastern Africa, rather African countries. I think most of them cook their tea with milk, black tea with milk. And also Indians do the same thing. So I love to try different things with tea, like spicy chai. I make cardamom tea. I make ginger, turmeric, Ayurvedic tea. I'm just in love with tea. And if I don't drink a coffee or a tea in the day, I'm gonna have a headache at some point, and I'm gonna be a little bit moody, and I won't realize it until I notice, oh, I didn't have a cup of tea. That's why. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching my video. Those are a few facts about me. I hope you've learned a little bit more about this face that you see on your screens. Yeah, if you guys have any similarities to me, or you have interesting facts you want to share about you, do share in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you and interact with you guys. Until next time, have a lovely week.